All right, we're going to jump in. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Garrett Jones. I work out of the Keller Williams Cupertino office. I'm a productivity coach. Been selling real estate for the last 4 years full time, and it's been an amazing ride. Lots of new skills and meeting a lot of interesting people. I'd like to say this session is going to be primarily focused on the things we need to do to embrace our job, our new career, and what particular action items we can go out and take. Does anybody have any questions before we get started on things they're looking to learn, or questions they have from the first session? You can unmute yourself if you are available, for anybody in the room. All right, we've got a lively group here this morning on Tuesday. Let's get into it. So we're here talking about embracing our jobs. What did we learn from the first session? For those of us who were there, anybody have any ahas that they'd like to share from session one? If you're not going to speak, would you mind muting so we don't hear the audio? All right, so no ahas from session one. Okay. So we're here today. I've got 3 in attendance in the building. Thank you guys for joining us live. Today we're going to apply the 6 core competencies to business and talk about what those things are. Okay. Where it all starts, in my opinion. How do we mute anybody? I don't have the ability to do it. Oh, he muted. Okay. Where I believe it all starts, right, is lead generation. And we're going to jump right in to lead generating and what that means and what it can look like for you. So where do we lead generate? Where do we find business?
Sphere.
Our sphere of influence, door knocking. So these are activities, right? And groups of people. I think of it falls into 3 categories, right? We've got in-person, right? What does in-person lead generation look like, right? Well, I can lead generate at an open house, obviously. I can do an event, or I can attend events, social gatherings such as parties, any social gathering that you're a part of. A hack for these sort of situations: when you get invited to a party at a particular location, I like to spend 15-20 minutes looking on the MLS, understanding what's been sold in that area, what the price point is. Give a couple agents a phone call, ask them what's going on there. You're going to have conversations. They're going to get into real estate most likely. And I like to be very intentional with getting people's phone numbers. Okay, so you have a conversation with somebody and it can finish with, hey, I'd love to stay in touch, you know, or could we get the kids together sometime? Get their phone number. Okay. Clubs, sporting events, right? Whether you participate in sports or your children participate in sports, right? These are all opportunities for us to have conversations, right? The more conversations I have, the more people I can add to the database who I'm gonna communicate with on a regular basis, right? Our objective is always going to be to grow our database with complete information, okay? At any time, if anybody online has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and interrupt me if anything strikes you as you want more clarification. So past careers, what have we done before real estate? Do we have a list of people that we used to work with that belong in our database, right? And I'm going to go into detail onto how you will communicate with these people once you put them into command a little bit later. I like to keep it very simple, okay? Homeowners, so and I'm still talking about in person, so door knocking, right? Nima, you said door knocking, right? The opportunity to go out and meet people is always available to us, right? But I have to take that opportunity and be prepared with what I'm going to say and then how I'm going to follow up with these individuals, right? The more people we talk to, the more people view us as an advisor to help them with their real estate needs, right? The more opportunities we're going to have to set appointments and talk to people and see if we can help. So I can use my telephone. I can use my telephone, right? If you're calling people you know, this is another way to have a more powerful conversation. If I'm calling people I know, I'm going to get onto social media, I'm going to look them up. If I'm connected with them on social media, I'm going to see what are they into, what have they been up to, so that our conversation can be in line with what they're doing, right? Did they just go on vacation? Were they at one of their kids', soccer games? What's going on with them? It will allow me to have a more meaningful conversation when I talk to them. It takes 30 seconds to look somebody up on Facebook or Instagram. I definitely recommend doing that before you call your sphere of influence. So to clarify, our sphere of influence is anybody that knows us by name, right? Anybody that would recognize us if we called them. And then another place where we can lead generate, social media. This is not a social media class for us to get into that. I would say if you're going to spend time using social media, you time block that time out. You spend maybe 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. It's really less about, in my opinion, what you post and more about you connecting with people. And so what that looks like is I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to comment on people's posts. I'm going to say, hey, that picture's great. It deserves a frame. Or, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to comment, because the more people I comment on, it's going to disrupt that algorithm and it's going to show those people when I post, right? And if I'm going to post, I'm going to do that regularly. And ideally, it's an 80-20 break. 80% is about me, my life, my family, my hobbies. 20% is about real estate. If I'm only posting about real estate, all of a sudden my friends think I'm always advertising to them, and it may turn them off, right? So that is my social media kind of disclaimer. Does anybody have any questions as far as what we've spoken about so far? Any clarification needed? Anything they'd like to share with the group? I'd love some participation. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we'll keep going. Let's get into how we get prepared. Okay. I want to talk about being prepared. The more prepared I am, the easier it is to communicate with people. First thing I want to talk about is scripts practice and how you should find a script partner. Okay. I need to make this, if I'm new to my career and my job is now to talk about something that I've never talked about, that I'm still learning a great deal about, I need to be prepared to have these conversations, right? And I think it is more important to understand the questions that you should be asking people than it is to understand the answers to all the questions. Okay, I would really, if you're like me and you have a little voice in your head that's saying, well, I don't know this and I don't know that, and I'm really nervous to talk to people because I don't know how title works. I don't know how an earnest money deposit works. I don't know how a 1031 exchange works. I would advise you to, like, don't worry, you don't have to, right? You don't have to. Your job is to have conversations with people. It's not to provide them an encyclopedia of information so that they can make every real estate decision that could ever be presented to them. You will get that information as you go along, and the way that I learned it was case by case, really, right? I continued my education, I continued coming to courses, and to be honest, I worked with people who had different needs, and when I worked with someone who had a need, we learned how to solve that problem, and then I knew how to solve that problem the next time. Okay, so do your best to seek out information and continue to stay educated. But the way that I have script practice working in my, like, active real estate life right now is I have 2 script partners that I meet with for 15 minutes twice a week. Okay, it's a set time. It's 11 o'clock. It's on Monday and Wednesday with one. It's on Tuesday and Thursday with the other. We go from 11 to 11:15. And this is a quick example of how that phone call works. I call the person or they call me and I say, I want you to be someone that I just door knocked and I'm inviting you to an open house. Knock, knock. And we will go through that. And the person is the homeowner, right? I want you to be someone that just walked into an open house who is new to the home search process, and we'll role play that. And then they tell me who they want me to be, and it's either ring ring or they walk in the door and we role play it. We only do it for 15 minutes. We don't talk about whatever else there is on our minds to talk about. We focus on that, and we say, all right, I'll check in with you on Tuesday, Thursday, whatever day. I'll see you then. Bye. And I want to take that practice and immediately apply it. So that as soon as my script practice is over, the next 1 hour on my calendar is blocked out to have conversations, right? Whether I'm getting out and knocking on doors, or I'm calling my sphere, or I'm calling expired or canceled listings, right? The people that we can prospect with and lead generate is as vast as the ocean. Identify one group where you want to build that skill up, and then and come close to mastering it, and then pick up another skill. So another quick break. I'm tired of hearing myself talk. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, feedback over what we've talked about so far? Still a quiet group here tonight. Oh, it's not night. It's the morning. So that brings us.
Garrett, this is Brushali. Good morning.
Morning, Brushali. Thank you for jumping in. What's going on?
So you were just mentioning about the script partner. You want to have a couple of minutes of how generally we do it at our productivity coaching.
Perfect. So
yeah. I can be a sphere of influence, and if that works for you, and you can be agent.
That works for me. So I go, okay, Brushali's going to be one of my friends, a past coworker. And I go, ring, ring.
Hello, Garrett. How are you?
I'm good, Brushali. It's so nice to talk to you. How have you been?
Well, I'm doing great. Weather is a little rough these days, but hoping for a brighter spring.
Yeah, I think we're in for rain for the next week. How's your family doing? I see you guys just went on vacation.
That's right. The boys wanted to go skiing because this is like, I think after many years, we saw so much of snow all over.
Oh yeah, it's It's been amazing. What a change, huh?
That's true. It's last year we were talking about drought, and now here we are enjoying snow.
Yeah, that's great. How's the job going? I see that there's been a lot of layoffs around here. How are you doing with all of that?
Fortunately, both my husband and I, we are still holding up well. We have been in the industry for a long time, so I think that's what is keeping us going.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that. Other than snowing, are you guys doing anything else for fun?
Yes, boys are busy with their soccer, so taking them to classes, that's what is keeping us busy. And definitely their school activities, because the older one is going to go to high school next year, and we are thinking about which high school we should sign him up for, given that he's actively involved in soccer.
Yeah, have you guys narrowed down your list yet?
Not yet, because he doesn't want to move that far, because he formed his team well. So, but definitely not the current one that he would go to. So,
Yeah.
but somewhere nearby, Cupertino.
Great. You guys, I remember last time we talked, you had mentioned that you were thinking about possibly getting a investment property. Are you guys still considering that?
We are actually considering to upgrade our current home instead of getting an investment property, because
Oh,
boys are growing up, they need their space. So
that's fantastic. What are you guys looking to do? How much are you looking to add square footage or just make some general updates?
no, we definitely need extra bedrooms. So we are thinking about at least 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath, preferably 3 bath if we can get. But Cupertino prices are so high, we may have to sell current one.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can definitely talk about that. Would you like me to introduce you to my contractor first to kind of explore the possibility of a remodel?
No, we do not want to get into that hassle. So that's why instead of that, we started looking for a home to purchase and sell our current one.
Okay. Okay. What have you guys spoken about a timeline? What are you thinking with the kids in school? Are you going to push it out till the summer, or would you like to get started earlier?
No, get started. If we like something, why wait till summer?
Right. And you guys bought your house, what, I think 8 or 9 years ago?
Yes, that's right. And I'm glad we could buy that time. Otherwise, looking at the prices, I don't think we would have, it's impossible to buy at this point.
Right. Would you and your husband be open to me stopping by this weekend on Saturday in the afternoon, and we could sit down and kind of discuss what you're looking for in more detail and talk about a game plan from there?
Yes, definitely. I think, let me check with my husband and I can text you.
Okay, fantastic. I'll go ahead and I'll send you a calendar invite for like 2, and we can always reschedule if we need to. Is that all right?
That's fantastic. Sounds good.
Good. All right. Well, great. Give me a call if anything comes up between now and then. I'll send that over in the next hour. And it's been good catching up. I hope I can assist you guys. Be great.
Sure. I'm looking forward to meeting you this Sunday too.
Great, Shirley. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks, Garrett.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.
So that was just an example of calling and checking in with somebody. I hope what you guys took away from that is that it's just a conversation, right? It's nothing more than a conversation. And Vershali, how do you feel? Like you've been having these conversations for a couple of years now, and what's been your experience?
Definitely, one thing is instead of directly asking about related to real estate, it's always good to discuss about go with the Ford rule, talk about family, how are they doing with the job, and then once we build that rapport again, then talk about definitely introduce yourself as a real estate agent, because unless they know that I'm into real estate, I will not get business or I won't be able to help them.
Right. That's a good point. These conversations, right, the Ford script, which was mentioned, is just an acronym for conversation topics and questions to ask people. So the F is standing for family. I'm going to ask, how's the family doing? The O stands for occupation. R is for recreation. When I think of recreation, it's just, what are you doing for fun these days? If I've done my homework and looked at what they're doing on social media, I might see that they played golf last week, or they were at a tennis match, or whatever the case may be. And I could ask a direct question about that particular recreation activity. Has a little bit more meaning that way. And then D is for dreams. And the dream question was when I asked if she was still looking to purchase an investment property, right? That's something that I knew she was interested in from our last conversation. Her plans have changed, right? You could ask somebody, do you have any big plans this year? How about, do you have any real estate goals for 2023? I think that's a very nice way to ask if they're interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate. But just having these questions, just a couple of key questions in your arsenal that can come out of your mouth at any time, it really takes the pressure off the conversation and allows you to relax and listen, right? I can think back to the first couple of years when I was selling real estate, and I was so busy in between my ears trying to think about what to say next. I didn't do a very good job in picking up on the cues, right? So this is another one that I would recommend you guys write down. You're in a conversation with somebody. That individual shares their motivation. You've built enough rapport to where they tell you what's going on. They tell you their motivation. That is your cue to ask for the appointment. Because the objective of the call is two things. You're going to gather information and you're going to set appointments. That's why you're calling people. We can say gather information. It also falls into the bucket of building rapport. Okay. But gather information, and the best way to do that is to ask good questions, right? I read a book that said, I don't even remember where I got this one, but it said, the amount of money you make will be directly related to the quality of questions you ask people. The amount of money you make is going to be related to the quality of questions you ask people. And now all of us are in a job that the words we use matter, right? We can say one wrong move and discredit ourselves, right? So practicing using the correct words. And I find as time has gone on, I've moved a lot slower. I don't need to move fast with people, right? This is buying and selling a house. This isn't selling them a chair, okay? I can move slow. I want them to understand that I'm listening to them. Another really powerful tool that we should all be using, and we'll get better at it when we use it, is labeling. So I would say something like, Vershali, what I heard you say is it was important for you guys to find a good place for your son to play soccer. And she'd go, yeah, that's right. And then she'd give me more, right? And it doesn't matter if you don't label it correctly. It sounds to me like you're a little worried about the economy, and that might be causing you to not get ready to buy a home. And then I just stopped talking and let them tell me, no, that's not right. I'm not worried about the economy. I need to buy a home. Perfect. Why don't we meet tomorrow? Okay. If you can get somebody to say, that's right, If they give you that magical word, that's right, you're winning, right? You're listening, you're responding back to them appropriately. They're like, yeah, that's right. You're like, okay. That it's always my cue of like, this is going really well. Okay. So anybody have any feedback or questions so far? I'll open it up for anybody's, any ahas, anything you're thinking about from yesterday, any struggles, not sure where to spend your time or what you should be doing right now. The floor is open.
Hey, Garrett.
Yeah.
This is Conrad.
Hey, Conrad.
I have a question concerning lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I do a lot of open houses almost every weekend. And yes, I see I can get a lot of buyers. But what specifically can be done to go after listings?
So there's lots of things that you can call expired, listings.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Still breaking up. Nope, still breaking up.
Let me get our technical support in here.
Okay, now I can hear you clearly.
Okay, perfect. Raymond, stand right here with me next to me. So right, sellers, if I'm hosting a lot of open houses and I'm missing the opportunity to door knock and invite the neighbors to what I call a sneak preview, I'm missing an opportunity to have maybe 30 to 40 conversations with people that live in the neighborhood. So my strategy for that is if I'm hosting on Saturday and Sunday, I come through the neighborhood Friday afternoon and I bring my flyer that says, you know, private sneak peek from 12 to 1. And the open house for the public that's going to be on Redfin and Zillow is going to start at 1. And so I say, this is a neighborhood only sneak peek. Would you like to come by and see Mr. and Mrs. Smith's house? By the way, I'm Garrett, right? Real estate agent. They're like, oh, okay, great, thanks. Hey, do you have any questions about the market? Is there anything I can help you with? No, I'm good. Okay, what was your name again? Okay, and I'm gonna jot their name down. Then I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna write their address down. And then they're gonna get a card from me, a thank you card, right? On Sunday, I'm gonna send it in the mail. Hey, it was so nice to meet you. You have a lovely home. Here's my business card. Let me know if you have any questions. They're gonna go into command. I'm gonna try to continue to build that relationship, right? You know, some of these people may show up at the open house, gives you more time to build rapport and possibly get the phone number and the email address. If you have a QR code for people to scan in, hey, can you please scan in? Now I have their information. They have to put it in. As long as I make them scan in. Okay, and what that looks like is the front door of the home would be behind me. I'd be standing at the front door. The QR code is outside on a wall. Maybe I have another one in the kitchen. And I stand at the front door and I say, hey, thanks so much for coming today. Would you do me a favor and just scan in for the safety of myself and my seller? Everyone coming in the home today's got to scan in. And they'll go, whoa, hey, no, what? You know, what if someone pushes back? Oh, heaven forbid someone objects to scanning in. I tell them, I go, look, I watched this episode on CSI and the real estate agent went missing. And the first thing the detective did, they looked at the sign-in sheet for the open house. You know, obviously someone's going to probably try and abduct me today. And, you know, we definitely need your name. So, and they laugh, right? And whatever. It's just like okay, so here's the dreaded question that all new real estate agents have. How many houses have you sold and how long have you been selling real estate? And you should write this answer down. Most of us will remember. So when someone asks you that question, your response, my response is, it feels like forever. Then I laugh. And then they laugh. And then they don't ask again. Most people don't go, no, seriously, dude, how long? Show me your resume. Right? Most people care, can I service their needs? But okay, back to the question at hand. One way to meet sellers if you're doing open houses is to go out there and door knock, and that is a part of your open house strategy for every open house you get. Okay, another thing, am I calling expireds, canceled listings for sale by owners? Is my database full of people that already know me and I know that they are homeowners? Because these are other people that I need to be following up with regularly. They need to be on a neighborhood nurture where they're getting, you know, bi-monthly or monthly emails from me. All of these strategies are going to help you find listings. Yeah.
I wanted to get back to the QR.
The QR code. Yeah. No, my thoughts are always interrupted. I'm all over the place.
With your QR code, I love that idea. Do you do a custom QR code every time you have a listing, or it's just for your info?
The QR code takes the person who scans it to my website, the contact page of my website. And on the contact page of my website, it's linked to command. You have to put in your name, email address, and phone number. And then you submit. And because I have the Keller Williams app on my phone, when I get a new lead that comes into command, my phone goes ding.
And it's instantaneous.
Instantaneous. And so if I don't get the bing, I go, must have put in the wrong email. Could you try that again? And they know they gave me a bad email, right?
Love it.
So, and right, our job at the open house, to be quite frank, is not to sell that particular property. It's data collection. It's data collection and to build rapport. Your only opportunity is to get the people to like you. If they like you, the chance that they answer your phone call goes up dramatically. Okay, but if you don't capture their phone number, there's nobody to call, right? I can't tell you how many open houses I hosted. I walked out of there skipping, like, I did so good. I had so many great conversations. And then I got home and I was like, oh my God, I only got 2 phone numbers and there was 35 people there.
So do you have the difference, does the office design your QR code for your contact versus your going to your website? I figured the business card.
No, you can go to Canva and make a QR code. All you have to do is just put in the link. If you just put the link in there.
So you don't do it, you know.
It generates it. You can also ask Kelsey to generate a QR code that goes to your contact page. That's all I care about, right? Like, I don't care about them reading about me or looking at any, I want their information. Yep. Conrad.
Yep.
Any thoughts on that? What are you thinking with your approach to getting listings?
No, that was very helpful. I got some insights out of you concerning the open houses and you know, walking the neighborhood and doing the door knocking. Honestly, I do that because most of the open houses I do are not my listings. And usually it's somebody at last minute trying to get somebody to host the open house. So sometimes there's no time to do the door knocking, but I'm going to make the attempt to get the door knocking done regardless of what time they give me the open house.
Yeah, I mean, even if you can get over there, let's say you don't have time to build a flyer, just walk around with your business card, introduce yourself to people and let them know, you know, maybe you only have an hour before the open house starts. Well, you can still hit, right, 25 doors if you hustle and get over there and introduce them to come by the open house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in terms of, a lot of us are in a position where we don't have our own open houses to host, so we're hosting for other agents. I would recommend that agents who give you open houses, when it comes to data collection, their contact information needs to be put into command as well. You know, their email, their phone number, tag them as an agent so that after doing this for a number of months, you can just go to command, pull up a list of, you know, 15 agents who you've hosted for and ask them first.
Okay.
So, I mean, I look at the beginning of this business like, and Raymond, you and I talked about this earlier, is I want to take my carabiner and rock climbing, the little carabiner thing, I want to attach it to somebody who's a little bit ahead of me. And I just want to come from a position of like, hey, how can I help you reach your goals? Because there's agents that are further ahead than others, and there are things in their business that they're not doing also. And is there an opportunity for you to help yourself while helping them? Right? What makes this job so difficult, in my opinion, is there's all these things that you can do and invest your time and energy and money in. But ultimately, right, our job comes down to 5 things, right? And I know we're going over the 6 core competencies, but I believe these 5 things are what you should do every day. Lead generate, lead follow up, negotiate contracts, go on appointments, practice scripts, and objection handling. Those 5 things. And let's say, okay, I set an appointment on my calendar, okay, and I go from 5 to 7, that's my go on appointment time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I don't have any appointments, Garrett. Okay, now it's lead generation time, or it's lead follow-up time. Again, right, when we talk time blocks, and I didn't come into this job learning how to work from a schedule, but what I found is that it is the key to everything I do is that discipline, right? And it's getting specific. So my lead generation time block says must have 10 conversations. Okay, and I'll cite how. Phone, SOI, right? Phone expires, door knock. Okay, and then when it comes to 10 to 11, right, I do that activity, and if I don't get to 10, I'm going to keep going until I reach 10. And that honestly, like, if you can do that consistently, you will set appointments. Okay, you will set appointments. So that brings me to kind of our next conversation topic. Well, let me back up. Goals, right? We all have goals. We all want to achieve things. That's why we got our real estate license. But do we develop a relationship with our goals? Do we spend time thinking about what's important to us, why it's important to us? I like to start up high, right? So I start high with my core values. We all have different core values. I gotta date them, because the only reason I have a core value is to tell me what to do, help me make decisions. So if I have a core value to be honest, and I am continuing to find myself being dishonest, that core value is not helping me make decisions. So maybe that core value is not that important to me, right? Family, a lot of us, right? Family, I love my family. Well, if family being a core value helps you make decisions, it is a good core value, right? My core value is to be rich. Hey, does that help you make decisions? Yes or no? I would say date your core values. Don't get married to them. And then when it comes to goals, the only reason we set a goal, who thinks they know the answer to that one? What is the reason that you set a goal?
To stay on track.
To stay on track, yep. Anybody online have a guess? Some people have heard me say this before. Yes, right, you've heard me, yeah. So a goal is good if it tells me what I'm supposed to be doing right now, right? That's why I set a goal, to tell me what to do right now, right? So if one of my goals is to be a better educated real estate agent, then I'm doing the right thing right now by attending this class. Okay, but I would say if my goal is to sell 10 homes, maybe my time should be spent lead generating and lead follow-up and knocking on doors right now. It depends, right? Or if my goal is to sell 20. So what I'm getting at is, okay, I got these core values. Underneath that, I've got, what are my someday, who do I want to be someday? You know, I want to be someday someone whose GCI, gross commission income, is above $1 million a year. Okay, that's my someday goal as a real estate agent. What does my annual goal look like? Okay, I want to sell 20 units this year. Okay, what is my monthly goal as far as how many units sold? And then the activities I have to do to reach that goal. I can't get anyone to buy and sell a home, but I can control the activities I do to set appointments. And the more I understand what activities I do that generate appointments, the easier it is for me to say yes and no to things and spend most of my time in my appointment setting wheelhouse. If I'm somebody who is amazing at open houses and I set 1 or 2 appointments every time I do an open house, why am I not hosting open houses, or at least trying to, 5 days a week? Right? If I'm somebody who's great at door knocking, I love getting out there and walking, I love meeting my neighbors and kind of being a part of the community, I should be door knocking every day, and I should be spending time working at the local coffee shop so I can maybe run into people. Right? If that's my neighborhood and my desire is to be this #1 agent in this particular area. You know, it really just comes down to like, pick a lane and then drive in it really fast. And all of my efforts revolve around that. So my lead generation looks like this: calling my sphere of influence on a regular basis, following up with any leads I've met anywhere. A lot of times it's just meeting people at parties, meeting other parents where my daughters go to school. It's just building those relationships, having conversations. And then it's just asking. So this is a big one, because I can look back to my first 2 years in real estate and I had a lot of really good conversations, and they went like this: man, I'm new to real estate and there's a lot to learn. I mean, there is so much to learn, right? This is what I'd be telling another mom or dad at the park while our kids were playing. Man, it's tough, kind of complicated too. And they're all, never calling this guy, right? And then I kind of weaned off of that. That was only like the first couple months. And then I was like, okay, now I got to show up like a pro and at least walk the walk. So I started kind of walking the walk, and I'd have these great interactions and I wouldn't ask, what do I want out of that? Would it be okay if I stayed in touch with you? You know, many of my friends sign up for my monthly market update. Can I sign you up for that? It's a list of homes being bought and sold in your neighborhood. Most people that you know will say yes to that ask. And then what do I get? Email, home address. And now I have more complete contact information than I had for them before I asked. It might not be, hey, come on over, I'm ready to sell. But this is the start, right? This is the start of you knocking on that door. So what is your ask for the people you talk to? And I don't expect that we necessarily have the answer, but you need to think of the group of people that you're talking to. What are you going to ask them? You know, if I'm door knocking, okay, we talk about this in coaching, right? Your vendor script, right? So I door knock and I go, you have a lovely front yard. I sell real estate. I sell a lot of homes in this area, or I work with a lot of people in this area. We're trying to grow our vendor list. Would you mind sharing who your landscaper is? I'd love to see if I can help them get more business. And they're all, yeah, no problem, right? Because people naturally want to help other people. Give them an opportunity to do so, right? So they go, sure, I'll get that. You know, I got my clipboard ready. Here's their name, here's their phone number. Hey, thank you so much. I got one other favor to ask you. Would you mind giving him a call and just let him know that I'll be calling him to introduce myself and see if I can help get him some more business. And now we've asked them to call their landscaper They've got our business card and they're like, hey, Garrett's gonna be calling you. He sells real estate in the area. He might have some jobs for you. And now they've called them on your behalf. Now you call them, have a conversation. You might not have any work for them. Hey, I just wanted to get to know some people working in this area. When I come across any houses that need a landscaper, I'd love to refer to you. And they're all, hey, thanks so much, right? Like, thanks for thinking of it. So with most of my referral partners, it's a two-way street. And I ask that they also, if they find someone who needs to buy or sell a house, that they give me a call. Can you do that for me? And they're like, sure, right? If they do it or not, who knows, right? But you have the conversation, then you ask. And now that you've talked to them, what do? You write a thank you card to the homeowner. Hey, thanks so much. I had a great conversation with so-and-so. I really appreciate that introduction. You know, I have a list of other vendors. If you ever need anything done on the home, please feel free to reach out. And now, hopefully, you have positioned yourself in this bubble of people that they might use to buy or sell if the time ever comes. So if I asked you guys to name a soda company, you know, or a soda flavor, how many do you think you could name? Like, we got Sprite, root beer, right? Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, If I said name a car, right? A car manufacturer, how many do you think you can name? 10, 8, even insurance companies, right? Could name a bunch, right? Because these are being advertised to us at a very high frequency. Most people only have enough room in their head for 2 real estate agents. 2. Ask people how many real estate agents they know. It's different for us because we work in this business, but most people only know 2. So I want you to think of the people that you know already. Are you 1 or 2 in their mind, or do you not exist? Because it's it's either you're 1 or 2, maybe some of them know 4, right? Whatever. Or you don't exist. And if you don't exist, the chance that they call you when they have a need doesn't exist either, right? So our job is to become 1 or 2. That's our job. Our job is to be that useful to these people, or they just think we're that great that they call us. And that only comes through constant contact. That brings me to not everyone in our database is created equal. If there are people that you've had communication with already who have given you a name of somebody who might be buying or selling, that's really thoughtful of them, and those people have a higher priority. Those are my VIP people. The more VIP people I have who refer me to other people, the bigger my business will be. There's nothing beats a referral, because a lot of times you'll walk into those situations and you're the only one they're interviewing. So I don't care how bad of a referral Raymond gives me. Raymond gets a thank you card and a gift card after every name he gives me, and a phone call thanking him. Even if the person will never buy or sell, it was a terrible referral, it doesn't matter. Because what do? We want to reward the behavior. And the more we say, thank you so much, you're the best, I appreciate that. You know, here's a $50, gift card to wherever, thank you. And then if I close somebody, right, he's going to get another thank you, right? Because I want to reward that behavior. So if someone ever gives you a name, please make sure you have a plan in place to reward them, right? Imagine if you had 10 people who gave your name out, or even better, they called you and shared someone's contact information with you so that you could reach out, because that's what I asked for. I don't want you giving my business card out. I want you to call me and share their contact information, because it's my job to prospect and to lead generate. It's not their job to make that whole introduction for me. It's not their job. Can you ask them if it's okay if you share their contact information? That way I make sure there's 100% chance I give them a call. There's 100% chance I get a hold of them. Because I'm gonna call them until they tell me, until they pick up. I'm gonna call them. Imagine if you had 10 people who gave you 1 referral a month. That's 10 new leads every month, based on these 10 people that you know. That's 120 new leads every year. How much money do you have to spend marketing and advertising if you had those 10 people? Probably not much, right? You could probably sell 20 houses at least based on those people. It's 120 leads, right? That's a 17% close rate from an introduction. Right? Knowing your numbers, right? It becomes important, right? For me, it's like 27 conversations will equal 1 appointment. And the only reason I know that is because I've tracked it for 6 months. You know, not that you have to get that organized yet, but it's easier to start out when your numbers are small, right? If your goal, I want you to think about that. What's your goal today? Today, we're going to leave here in about, 15 minutes. How many people are we going to talk to today? What's my goal? Right? Let's be very clear with ourselves on what we are going to do. My goal is this, right? I have another meeting at 11 and then I'm door knocking from 2:30 to 5. Right? 2:30 to 5. And I don't know what's going to come of that door knocking, but I'm going to track how many doors I knock from 2:30 to 5. And then I will have a better idea when I door knock next week, how many doors I covered in a 2.5 hour time period. And it's more than I think, right? It also depends on how many people open the door. Because the more conversations I get into, the less doors I'm going to knock, but the more people I'm going to add to my database. Yeah.
This is a very specific question about your calling, cold calling, or not cold calling, or them calling.
Uh-huh.
Do you use voicemail? Do you like to use voicemail, or do you feel like that's much more of an annoying, you don't get much return on?
If there are people that already know my name, they 100% get a voicemail. And I do my lead generation a lot of times from like 10 to 11 or 10 to 12. I don't expect them to answer the phone. I don't, to be quite frank, they already know me. I'm just calling to say hello, hope all is well, hope the family's doing good. Give me a call, I'd love to catch up. That's it. But then they're gonna listen to the message, they're gonna see that I called, and I'm just gonna stick in their head and I'm gonna move into that 1 or 2 real estate agents they know. That's my goal, right? It's not so much of the conversation. Because let's think about buying and selling windows. They're small, right? Real estate happens, what, on average, 1 time every 9 years for people? That window is that big. So I got the other 8 years and 6 months to put myself in their head. Because most of the time it's not a need, right? When we're thinking of buyers and sellers, it comes down to 2 things: their motivation and their timeline. What is their motivation and what is their timeline? If they share that with me, I can help them. And then I can say, and most of the time it's not like, this is what you should do. It's like option 1 or option 2, which makes sense for you guys. If I'm setting appointments, I realize I didn't get too much into the appointment setting category. If I'm setting appointments, both decision makers should be present. If I'm now let's say I've had an appointment, both of my buyers are there. We've gone over their non-negotiables. So we're only showing them homes that have their non-negotiables. Let's say one is a 2-car garage. One is it has to be in this zip code. One, it needs to be 3 bedrooms. I don't want more than 5 non-negotiables, right? Unless they have a $5 million plus budget. Okay, that's a different conversation, but for most of our buyers, right, I only want 3. And then I say, now give me up to 10 nice to haves. Nice to haves, right? Well, I'd like a backyard. I'd like an open floor plan. I'd like a walk-in closet. I'd like hardwood floors. Whatever the nice to haves are. Because what I'm helping people do is I'm helping them formulate an idea of what they really want. But now, if I do a really strong consultation with them, I have a list. I got their non-negotiables. I've got up to 10 nice to haves. And now I could walk in to show them a house and I've got it right here and I go, check, check, check. And then I say, Moy, this house has 6 out of your 10 nice to haves. And obviously it has 3 of your non-negotiables. Would you like to make an offer on this house?
Yes.
Fantastic. Here's what's next. Here's what's next. I'm always going to tell somebody, here's what's next. I'm setting the table, right? Here's what's next. I'm going to get home. I'm going to send you over the disclosures. Go ahead and review them. We'll schedule a call for Thursday at 5 p.m. We will review the disclosures. We will look at the comparable sales in the area and we'll determine what the best strategy is moving forward and for offer price and terms.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Great. Send the calendar invite. If you're not one who sends calendar invites, that's your new habit. That's all you learned today. That's your habit. Put it on their calendar. It also gives me more contact information. If I just call you on the phone and I say, yeah, we're going to go have coffee. I'll go have coffee with you tomorrow. Hey, fantastic. Hey, I want to send you a calendar invite. What's the best email for you? Send it. But get in the habit of sending calendar invites. I like to do my buyer consultations primarily over Zoom or Google Meets. I don't need you to come into the office. Why? That's one of the gifts of COVID, is I don't have to ask people to come into the office. If we can do it from home, let's do it from home. But after I have a buyer consultation, I have to close. I have to ask for them to select me as their agent of choice. You know, I felt like, and this is like the easiest closing ever, in my opinion, is it's like, this went really well. Felt like this went great. Why don't we get the paperwork started? They're all, yeah.
I'm struggling with deciding the price. I mean, after discussing about the comps and everything, that's what I suggest. I don't have, like, I'm not so persuasive enough to tell them you should offer that price. They always offer less,
Sure.
not reasonable.
Right.
And I don't want to do it because I know that we will lose. But okay, we can try, and then many times they don't listen to me.
Well, who's the best teacher for the buyer is the market, right? And I would ask you to go back into your earlier conversations with these clients. And did you really understand their motivation level, right? Because what I'm hearing is their motivation level doesn't match the market. And so they're always going to be running behind. Okay. But I also say, I learned this very early on, which was I don't want to give buyers a price. I want to let the market data dictate them telling me the price. Because if I tell you the price and we don't get it, I'm at fault. And I only get 2 or 3 of those, I'm at fault before I'm fired. So I don't want to give them a hard number and go, well, I really think like 1.125 is the winner, right? No, not me. You know, here's what I use to kind of persuade them to go higher.
Yeah.
If I know that that's what it will take, is I just spoke to this pending around the corner. They had 12 offers, and I'll have the information. I'm just giving you an example. They had 12 offers, and I know you see that it's listed for 1.1 million, but they're going to close at about 1.3. You know, he wouldn't give me the specific number, but they're just below that. And that house is pretty comparable to that. And this is the data that is most relevant to us winning this offer. I'm also going to over communicate if the opportunity is there with the listing agent. I'm gonna let them know how serious and motivated my buyers are, how I'm confident the deal will close. How, hey, if there's anything else we can do to make this a better offer for your sellers, please let me know. You know, whether or not we step over the line and give them what they want, it's irrelevant. What I want them to know is like, we're all in on this house. Because that gives confidence.
Yeah, how much do you think that, how much do you think that we should offer? What is the answer?
I say, let's review these comparables. And I say, look at this house. How do you think this house compares to the one we're looking at? I want them to tell me more. I don't, because I'm not looking to be the one who's backed into a corner. Don't back me into a corner, right? And tell me I got to tell you what to do here. I know that you're paying me for my help. And what you're asking me to do is help you buy a home. And I'm going to give you a very honest evaluation on what is happening in the market right now. And you're going to tell me how much you want to buy a home. Right? And I'll say to people, we'll have this conversation when not every seller is going to counter you. So are you an individual who wants to be in a counter situation so that you feel like you got the best price because now you're in a counter? I don't know. Is that the best situation? You know, do we want to blow everyone off on offer number one to where we won by 50,000 and there is no counter because the seller's like, there's the winner? Or do we want to be bunched up in 5 or 6 offers, right? We know there was 50 disclosure packets downloaded. Agents telling me, we got 5 people confirming that they're going to write. We're all looking at the same comps. How bad do you want this house?
Well, and I think what I'm picking up from you is that your client is actually turning to you for your advice, right? When they're saying how much do you, but I think like, so in that sense, you kind of have to have a point of view. It sounds like from what you were saying. And so I think Garrett's solution is just to wrap it a different way for you, is like, hey, listen, you hired me to be your advisor, all the things that Garrett said. So, you know, you tell me as a seller, would you consider your price, right? Like turn it back to that. You don't want to be stuck, like Garrett said, giving a number, but they want your advice. So all the other stuff, Garrett said, I think just wrap it.
Remember that if they want a number, they get a range, right?
I did give them the price range.
And they always pick the low end.
Yeah.
So you better bump the low end up. Right? So if you know they're always going to pick the low end, then the numbers move forward. Right? Because you know, based on what you know, this isn't going to get this house. So if I'm here and it's 1.1 to 1.175, that's my recommendation. And they're always picking 1.175. And in my head, I'm pretty sure that 1.15 gets the house. I'm going to go for 1.15 to 1.225.
Unless it's all cash, the low end, all cash, contingency waiver, yeah.
No, not that.
No, but like what Eric's
Yeah,
saying, it's just, you know, if you're gonna benchmark your info, just base the benchmark, and then you can say, well, you can get the lower end, but
Right. Well, I mean, this is a conversation, right? Where is a quick close important to the seller? The only person who can give me that information is a listing agent. Is a quick close important? No. Is a rent back important? Yes. Hey, what would make this really enticing? Hey, 2 months free rent back would be really enticing. Done. Let me see if my sellers will do that, or my buyers will do that. Right. So I gotta have that conversation. How many of what's important to them? They might go best price and terms. Okay. Now I know they just want the best price and terms, right? They don't care about selling to a family. They don't care about quick close. They want the most money. How do I get them the most money? Aggressive, right? I think these things, right? These skills though, they show up differently in every negotiation, right? Because it's different. I hope that answered. And again, like don't let perfection stand in the way of progress. Okay, because a lot of times we can think about, I want to make sure this flyer is perfect. I want to make sure that my script is perfect before I pick up the phone. I want to make sure my listing presentation is perfect before I go on a listing appointment. Our job today is to lead generate and set appointments and lead follow-up and practice scripts. That's your job. And I know it's not sexy and it may not be what you signed up for. But I promise you, if you engage in those activities consistently and be very disciplined, you'll go on more appointments and you'll help people buy and sell more real estate. Right.
Can you repeat those three again?
Boy, I've been saying this to you for 2 weeks. It's lead generate, right?
Okay, follow up.
Lead
and set
follow-up.
appointment.
Set appointments,
3.
not set them. We want to go on them.
Oh, go on.
Because sometimes I could be real good at setting them and nobody's real good at showing up to my appointment. And then practice our scripts and objections. The more you feel comfortable with the 10 objections that people give in real estate, the more you have practiced dealing with those, the more you'll be able to listen in a conversation and help people. Right? Because if you're worried, they're going to throw something at me I never heard before, and I'm going to freeze. They're going to think I don't know how to do my job, and I'm in trouble. The more you're in that, everybody picks up on that. Your body language shows it, your tone of voice shows it, everything. It's all right there. Bah. Okay. Well, how do you combat that? You have script practice where I just throw objections at you and you handle them. And when handling an objection, I respond it back to you. So what I'm hearing you say is, this is one way to handle it. I answer the objection and then I ask for what I want again. So what I want can vary between gathering more information and asking for the appointment again. If I ask for the appointment and they gave me an objection, what I'm hearing you say is, now is not the right time. Yeah, that's right. Well, what would make it the right time for you? Do you have a time frame in mind? Now I'm gathering more information. Oh, well, I need to make sure that ABC happens first. Okay, so after ABC happens, that's when it'll be the right time for us to sit down and talk about this? Yeah, that's right. Oh, I got the yeah, that's right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow up with you in 2 weeks. Would that be okay with you? Sure, that's fine. Right, let me get the best contact information for you.
Okay, whenever I'm ready, I'll contact you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I would rather be the one reaching out to you to help you with this process and get you any information you need along the way. It's okay that you're not ready right now. Would you mind sharing your phone number so that I can stay in contact with you? I'm not going to call you all the time. Would that be okay? Right, everybody, it's a brush off, right? A brush off, hey, I'll get back to you. Hey, how many people send me the disclosure packet? You send it, you never hear from them again. You might as well lit it on fire. Okay, what specifically are you looking for in the disclosure packet? How many disclosure packets have you reviewed? Have you looked at home inspection reports before? How many homes have you bought? When's the last time you bought a home? What's important to you about your next home? Are you buying a home because of a life event? Is there anything that could happen that could move your timeline up? You know, if this home checked all the boxes, would you be ready to make an offer this week? Well, financially I could, but okay. Sounds like we should talk. How about tomorrow? Right, appointment, right? But the only reason that I can just like rattle those things off is because I just practice, right? I wasn't born with like these questions in my head. So I really believe that this is the one thing we can do to show up like a professional and move forward and have greater success faster. I'm telling you, I walked into this career thinking I could talk. I said, I could talk. I don't need those. I'm gonna sound salesy. It's robotic. I feel very uncomfortable practicing with you because it just, it doesn't feel real at all. Ugh. It doesn't, it's not me, right? You know what? You've never been a real estate agent before. So in order for us to become that person, we're gonna have to become a different person than the person we are today. And that person that we have to become, if we want to sell a lot of real estate, is a person that uses a different language. The language of real estate, the language of sales. Well, the only way to get that is to practice. Okay, like to wrap up here. I don't want to hold you guys hostage. I can get on a tangent. Anybody online have any kind of ahas from today that they'd like to share?
Calendar. That's my big aha. I don't do that regularly, but anything and everything needs to go in the calendar.
That's a good point. And your calendar comes down to one thing, which is just self-discipline. And if you're not disciplined to do it yourself, you should find somebody to help you with that, right? Someone that you can share your calendar with and check in with. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there's nothing to do but to do it, right? The people that succeed, this is crazy. Like, they're not the smartest, they're not the fastest, they're not the whatever. They're the people that do. The people that do achieve, right? So right now we're in this phase where we're trying to become a real estate agent. And that involves us learning and practicing. And then I'm gonna take specific things like scripts and I'm gonna go apply them. And then I'm gonna get better at them and better and better and better. Quick story, an agent's been on a three dialer where he calls 3 numbers at the same time to call expired and canceled listings. And 3 months ago, he was not very good on the telephone. And today he sounds like a different person and he sets 2 to 3 appointments every week. Right, and he locks himself in a room, right? He does it for 3 hours a day, right? And he has over 20 conversations a day. That's his goal. Last week he had 86. You know, he didn't reach his goal, which was 100, but he knows his numbers today. Anybody else online have an aha they'd like to share? All right, to our room. Anybody? Anything?
Yeah, the question is pretty good. I like the, any real estate plan.
What is it? Could you repeat it?
The question to bring up, when you talk to your sphere of influence, when you say any real estate plan for 2023, I think it works really well.
Yeah. Do you have any real estate plans for 2023?
Yeah, and people
just talk about it. Even if they don't have any plans, you know what they do a lot of times? They go, oh, my cousin's thinking about buying. Oh, really? Would you mind sharing your cousin's phone number with me and I'll give him a call?
yeah.
It's very simple to just ask, right? This got real simple for me when I looked at it like, if I'm gonna be prospecting by phone and I had a list of names on this piece of paper, my objective was to get through the list and to put the names into different buckets. Bucket number 1, I have a follow-up plan for that person. We had a conversation, I'm gonna follow up with them, there's a plan. Bucket number 2, right, I set an appointment with that individual. Bucket number 3, they told me to F off. And that person gets removed from command and I no longer communicate with them. And now I've gone through this list of names and I have 80% of them live in the follow-up plan. 15% of them I set appointments with, 5% told me to leave them alone. And now I have a structure for doing my job, right? That's what it's about right now. It's really about script practice, lead generating.
Yeah.
And just pick a lane. And if you're not sure what to do, ask somebody, think about the things. It's like eating a frog. When would you eat a frog if you had to eat a frog? Early in the morning. That's why I lead generate early in the morning, because if I wait till 2 o'clock, I'm going to have a laundry list of other things that become more important and are more enticing to me than picking up the phone for an hour. My kids, they need me. Right? I got to go pick up dinner. Oh, I want to go over here. Oh, I got to go look at some houses and pretend I'm going to post on social media and pretend I'm a real estate agent. Right? We got to lead generate, set appointments, sign contracts. Okay, I'll leave you guys with this. So you have one job. I give you a pet monkey. Okay. Here's your pet monkey. You have to train your pet monkey to recite Shakespeare. And not only recite Shakespeare, that pet monkey has got to climb to the top of this big platform, stand on top of the platform and recite Shakespeare from there. Okay, if you've heard this one already, don't answer when I ask you, what do you do first? Do you build the platform or do you train the monkey to recite Shakespeare? Anybody want to take it? I mean, it's a 50-50 chance, right? Like what? You train the monkey?
They build the platform.
You build, Conrad, build the platform. I said that one too, Conrad. That was my first guess. So if the monkey can't recite Shakespeare, the platform doesn't matter. Right? And my coach said this to me because I was talking about wanting to build my website and build this email marketing campaign, and I had all these plans. And he's like, you can't recite Shakespeare. And so think of yourself and your path in your career. You're at this place where reciting Shakespeare is you learning to talk like a professional real estate agent. That's where you are. And all the other stuff is just building a platform, because you could build the best platform in the world. You could run the best social media ad campaign real estate market has ever seen, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and your phone would blow up. And then you wouldn't know what to say. You'd be all, So where we're at today is we got to recite Shakespeare. And then where that goes, then we can build as big a platform as we can imagine in our own minds. Gary Keller says you could be anywhere you want in 5 years. Anywhere you want, with consistency and the right plan. So I want you all to kind of think about, where do you want to be? And let's get started building that plan and prioritizing the top 2 or 3 things that you need to do every day to start your journey and accelerate your career trajectory. Right, that's what we're looking to do right now. What are the things that I can do to accelerate the trajectory of me making money selling real estate? Don't get overwhelmed. Stay focused, right? And if you're not sure, you have to tell somebody, I don't know, can you help me? And ask for help, right? I can't stress that enough, right? All the training in the world is not gonna solve the problem. You ask someone to help you. Say, hey, I'm thinking about doing these 3 things. What do you think is the most important? Let's talk about it. Okay, I will see you guys next week for another session. I wish you well. I challenge you today to spend at least an hour lead generating and try to have more than 5 conversations with people, and to go out and find a script partner who's as serious about building a big career as you are. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Yeah, I don't
Very
want to come to
helpful.
meetings